Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Need I Say Myrrh, the Christmas podcast. And today I am delighted to be joined by Eddie Arthur. Hello, Eddie.
Hello, Adam. Nice to
It's,
see you.
it's good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you? Who are you and where are you and what do you do?
Well, I think the most important thing to say is that I'm your former boss.
Indeed,
Uh,
yes.
Everything else fades into insignificance.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
As you said, my name's Eddie Arthur. For nigh on 40 years, I worked with Wycliffe Bible Translators, starting off as a translator in Africa and then moving through a variety of leadership and training positions in Africa, Europe, and having a wee time as the UK CEO while
Mhm.
you were working there at the office too.
Indeed, yes. I was the receptionist there for a while, so I have happy memories of working for you, Eddie.
That's very kind of you to say so, without any bribery.
And where are you based now? You're not in Africa at the moment.
No, no, I live on the border between North and West Yorkshire, not far from Skipton, for those who
Okay.
know this part of the world. Um, Lots of hills, and it's freezing currently.
I've been looking forward to this chat, partly, obviously, as you are my former boss, so it's good to catch up again. Um, but also because in the email I send out to people who are taking part, I always say that although it's an audio podcast, uh, we encourage guests to dress in a festive way. And your reply was to say, I don't own anything which could be remotely described as festive. Then you added bar humbug. So I'm looking forward to this episode and what may come out as we talk about Christmas together. But let's get into the questions then, and we'll see how whether that humbugness is reflected across the answers. But we'll start with the first question that I'm asking all of the guests, which is, what is your favourite Christmas decoration?
I like trees and I like lights. Beyond that, I don't care.
That's a good answer.
Trees and lights.
But they go well together, don't they, as well?
Yes.
So you go with quite minimal decoration then at home for Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a tree in the corner of the room for the dog to be frightened by. And that's it basically. Oh, I might
Okay.
put some tinsel up. I quite like tinsel.
Okay, that's interesting because tinsel was quite a controversial topic on season one of this podcast. That we had quite strong views for and against tinsel.
Well, I mean people are welcome to have views against tinsel. They're wrong, but
Well,
it's a free country and all that.
indeed, yes, we do promote free speech on this podcast.
Yes.
Uh, and the lights you put up, are they tree lights or do you do other light decorations in your house?
We put some lights in our windows at the back.
Oh,
Our house is up a lane where there is no street lighting or anything.
uh-huh.
So actually
Okay.
putting some Christmas lights up means that we can put the milk bottles out in the evening without
Okay.
falling over because we can see what we're doing.
So there's not much else to say about Christmas decorations, given you don't put up
No,
many.
no.
So we talk about a topic that maybe you have more to say about, which is food, and the question of what is your least favorite festive food?
Turkey.
Wow, that's going to be a controversial answer.
Turkeys were never designed to be eaten. I'm a good cook. I enjoy cooking. It's one of my
Mhm.
hobbies. But turkeys, there's nothing you can do to make them edible. They are sort
That's-
of vaguely chicken flavored cardboard, dry, unpleasant, and not particularly tasty.
These are strong
What?
views.
No, that's not strong views. It's just fact. I'm not stating an opinion. Turkey is inedible. Well, it's not inedible. You can eat it, but there is no pleasure to be gained in eating turkey. The fact that you have to have something as repellent as whatever that jelly is you stick on them, cranberry. Yeah, cranberry sauce is horrible. And
Okay.
the fact that you have something horrible to make turkey edible is just a sign that the stuff is unpleasant. Look, I'm English. Why would I be eating an American bird? when we have perfectly good geese and ducks in this country, which are far tastier, far better. So, yeah,
Mhm.
turkey,
Turkey. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just not worth the bother. Get a duck, get a goose, and no, this is not opinion.
Yes, that is a fact. Um, but we do welcome correspond. I should say we welcome correspondence on this podcast. If you'd like to question Eddie's facts, you're welcome to get in touch. Need I say Myrrh at gmail.com. That's need I say Myrrh at gmail.com.
If you have alternative facts,
If you have alternative facts. Um, so then you'd go for Christmas dinner, you'd go goose or duck.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have like a special Eddie Arthur recipe?
Well, I use a Jamie Oliver recipe for
Okay.
goose, which
Yeah.
involves rubbing it with five spice and citrus zest. But for duck, which is what we do normally if there's just the two of us,
Hmm.
just stuff the carcass full of oranges, whack it in the oven, and eat it.
There we go. It's a simple recipe, isn't it? And I wonder, because you've spent time in Africa, as you're saying, what would your Christmas dinners have looked like then?
It varied. For 6 years, we lived out in a village with no electricity, no running water, and we'd have Christmas dinner with a church. And they would normally have a large bit of cow and then chop off the best bits for us, which
Oh,
were not well defined best.
okay, right. I
I, I
yes,
do I do recall chewing one mouthful for about 20 minutes on a Christmas day
yes.
and giving the missionary prayer, please, Lord, I'll get it down, you keep it down. And then failing to keep up my part of the bargain because it just wouldn't go down. Yeah, just having dinner with the with the church, and it would just be, just stewed meat or
Mhm,
um we we did have one great one where it was a huge bowl of rice and then chicken in a peanut sauce, which I love.
mhm, mhm,
And in the afternoons when we lived in the village, we would then go to a mission school which was nearby and have a Anglo-Australian American Christmas dinner in the
mhm,
evening and
mhm.
play cricket with the Aussies. So that was good.
Yep, classic Christmas tradition. Have a quick
Yes,
game of cricket. Yes. Who normally won?
probably the Aussies. It's a long time ago. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds lovely to have a Christmas together as church and
Yeah,
share those kind of meals together. Yeah, those must be good times.
yeah,
Um,
they were quite stressful because with small
okay.
children, Christmas is stressful with small children
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah. Mhm.
Just in a foreign country where they're speaking a different language, it
Yeah.
just, adds a degree of entertainment to the process.
Yes. Yes. I can imagine. But you have good memories as well. So that's good. Well, let's talk about some other traditions then. And particularly this series, we're wanting to hear people's Christmas Eve traditions. So not so much what you do on the day, but the day before. Christmas Eve traditions. What's that look like for you, Eddie?
I think my biggest Christmas Eve tradition is sometime late afternoon saying, "Oh, I forgot to listen to this Festival of Nine Lessons and Carols again."
Okay.
So that is quite a fixed tradition in my life.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, or turning it on for the very last song. Um,
Okay. Have you not worked out how to set an alarm yet so you can be there on time for it?
oh, I can set alarms, but the thing about alarms is you have to be um, organized. Um, the thing is, we've been nomadic for so much of our
Hmm.
lives. We've
Hmm.
never really established a Christmas Eve tradition. Again, when we lived in the village and our Christmas day was full sort of morning through to mid-afternoon with the church, and then in the evening with the mission school, we did have the Christmas tradition of opening presents on Christmas Eve. Though again, because we were living out in the middle of nowhere, we didn't have many presents. That was sort of the thing. And now, at this point in life, it depends on whether we are with sort of one or other of our offspring or whether they are with us. And traditions are sort of defined by the time, and we don't actually get much say in it. We just go with the flow and don't have anything that's fixed. If there's just the two of us at home, I will cook. We'd normally have some sort of three-course meal to make us feel um, that we don't need Christmas lunch, but we'll have that anyway.
So what would be the Christmas Eve menu? If you could have the perfect Christmas Eve menu, what would you be cooking?
Probably something with fish. I do a nice thing with a salmon cooked with cream and prawns and other shellfish. That's quite nice. Perhaps do that.
Mhm.
And then perhaps I'd make a nice ginger ice cream. I could have that for dessert. Perhaps a crab pate for starters with sourdough bread.
Sounds very nice. Yes, we look forward to visiting. We'll come on to the final question. You mentioned the nine lessons and carols that you
Yeah.
like to watch, but then miss every year. Think about your favorite Christmas carol.
Well, in one sense, being from a conservative evangelical stock, I am contractually obliged to say, "Hark the Herald Angels
You
Sing."
are, yes, yeah, very good.
Um, and there is a theological depth to that, which is hard to find anywhere else. And the tune's a banger, as the
It is, yeah.
young people say. I do love some of the old Yorkshire Christmas hymns. Kate Rusby, the folk singer, has recorded a number of albums of traditional Yorkshire songs for Christmas, and
Okay.
I love some of those. But actually, my favourite, it is a northern tune, but it's While Shepherds Watch Their Flocks by Night to
Hmm.
the Sweet Bells tune. I mean, it also goes quite well to Ilkley Moor Bar Tat. While
Yes,
shepherds watch their flocks by night,
yes.
flocks by night. But the bells tune is even better.
It also goes well to supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I will take your word for that one. Being sort of more serious for a second, I
Hmm.
like the fact that that song is almost entirely scripture. It's taken from the
Mm,
AV,
hmm.
but
Hmm.
I think singing scripture is a good thing to do,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it helps people remember the story. It's not as romanticized as some of
Yes,
the others.
yes. It doesn't have as much poetic license. That it just
There's very little smelly stable and pain and unpleasantness in the Christmas carols, but there was in reality.
yes,
You know,
yeah.
little
Hmm.
Lord Jesus, no crying he makes. Where did Luther get that from?
Yeah, and remembering that, yeah, Jesus came down into the real world, not some kind of
Yeah,
fantasy kind of world. Yeah. Yeah, I think while Shepherd's Watch, my feeling on it is it's let down by the common tune that the
yes,
Winchester Old, is it? Which is not a very
yeah,
inspiring tune. But the words are great because they are, yeah, as
yeah.
you say, they're reflecting God's words to us.
The bells tune is better. While
Mm,
shepherds
yes.
watch their flocks by night, all seated on the ground, etc.
But it's also like thinking about, yeah, these old carols. I think about it a bit today because today is the 85th anniversary of our church's first service. And just thinking about how with these carols, most of the carols we sing in our carol service, basically sing the traditional ones. So
Yeah,
these are carols that they would have sung back in 1939 at that first Christmas, which would have been an interesting Christmas with the start of the Second World War.
yes,
But just think about how generation after generation has sung these same carols, including While Shepherds Watched, and the words are as true now as they ever have been, and that's,
yeah,
yeah, part of the joy of Christmas as well, isn't it? And so the words of the authorized version, whenever we think about which translation we prefer, actually those words, God's words,
yes.
yeah, still the same.
Well, I would argue, even though I am a Bible translator and an advocate for newer translations, if you are having a public carol service, read from the authorized version because
Mhm,
people want the tradition. Explain it well,
mhm,
but read from something that sounds resonant and fits with the tradition because
mhm.
that'll bring people back.
That's a helpful thought, Eddie. Yes, as we think about Christmas, that
Yeah.
it's a time where even if our churches are not normally that traditional, it's a good time to be traditional if we want to connect with people.
Yes, I think so because that's, where people are at that point. You don't want
Mhm.
to do it every Sunday, but
No.
at
Mhm.
Christmas.
There we go. That's a good thought to end on. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope that you have a very happy Christmas.
Thank you, and to you and yours. And God bless us, everyone.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.